A couple days ago, I started from scratch in Sons of the Forest, on the hardest difficulty. I wanted to become isolated from the world with a fresh save and build myself a majestic base. I've spent days working on a compact and powerful fortress build, designed to not just survive, but thrive on the island. In today's detailed step-by-step guide, I'm gonna share everything you need to know about it to build it yourself, including my favorite spawn point, so you can pick up all the essential items and vehicles on day one, start building, and have everything you need for survival in just a couple days. Let's get right to it. Sons of the Forest is one of those many games that's, best experienced together with friends on a server. If you still need one, be sure to check out my G-Portal partner link in the description down below to get a sweet discount during checkouts. Also, if you value my content and find the build helpful, it would mean the world to me if you can spare 1 second of your time, hit that like button, and subscribe to support the channel. Alright, so let's begin with some very important tips and tricks before you start with this build, as trust me, this is gonna make your life so much easier, especially on higher difficulty saves. If you start from scratch, especially the first days are gonna be simple to survive. You can pick up all the essential items, which we're gonna cover in a second, and you will have your fortress set up and ready before the winter. So you cannot just survive, but thrive in the forest. Let's start off with part 1, which is picking up all the essentials. If you don't want to get spoiled, just fast forward to the next chapter, timestamp in the description. This is where I absolutely love a specific spawn point, which is in the hills, the snowy mountains. If you spawn right here, this small yet super efficient route allows you to pick up the Slingshot for decent range damage, the Firefighter Axe, which is going to make building this fortress a whole lot easier because you can chop down trees more efficient. The flashlight, the stun baton, amazing weapon as well. And also 2 vehicles, the golf cart and the night rider. So you will have everything you need for your first days so you can construct the fortress with ease. Alright, so first off, you want to search for a sweet spot where you can settle down, have your base set up and ready for the rest of your adventures in Sons of the Forest. I absolutely love this specific spot, right next to the river, where you also have a cave system, which is located southwest of what I like to call the Four-Fingered Lake. 4 rivers come together right here. In every single Sons of the Forest playthrough, I just want to be at this spot because it's so beautiful and it has everything you need around you. Animals for hunting, all the important POIs to get your hands on the essential weapons and tools basically. And I think it's also one of the best places to efficiently take out cannibals with different environmental bonuses, which we're going to talk about during this video. Anyways, let's start off with preparing our construction site. Wherever you decide to have your base, you first want to place down a tarp so you can do a little bit of resting and also save your progress, which for obvious reasons is important, especially on higher difficulties. Now we don't have to worry about losing all our progress. We can just simply visit the tent from time to time. And we're also going to start clearing the construction site. Chop down trees, let them fall towards the place where you want to start building. Also ask Kelvin to gather the logs and place them there. This is going to be much more efficient with a Firefighter Axe we decided to pick up at the beginning, while I also recommend you to get rid of the tree stumps which are going to be too close to your base, so you can prevent trees from regrowing. After you've chopped down a decent amount of trees and let Kelvin pile them together, what you want to do is ask him to get stones and drop them where you want to start building. Not the rocks. Rocks are the smaller ones you can find. Small rock, regular rock. These though are the stones which we're gonna need for our foundation, which is gonna make it a lot more durable. Right now though, we're gonna build our foundation. If you also decided to build your base on this beautiful spot in the forest, I suggest you to align your base with this little pond right here, as then you can maximize the efficiency of your traps. Also have the fishery above the water right here, so the bad guys can't take any of your precious snacks. This would be the exact spot I recommend you to start building. Do right click and place some pillars, say right here, and another one aligned with the previous one, which we're going to put right there. So you basically have that little jumping platform, which is also close to these lily pads. This is what you want to have. Let me quickly place a couple more so you can see what I mean. There we go. Right now, it's going to be easy for us to just run through. And from this side, we're basically going to start placing the wall. Yeah, he's pointing at a bad guy. But this is not the exact formation you want to have. I'm going to share with you guys in a second what you want to do. So that would be the location where we need lock, right? We're going to just right click, do a little bit of rotation, make sure that it's kind of at the same spot. Something like this. So that would be the first, the second, the third. We're going to have a total of 5. So that's 2 and 3. Put one this way. This is what you should have, kind of. Right now we have a little problem, as we won't be able to place more of the blocks right here, as you can see. See, right now we have this red. So I'm going to place one right there. This is going to be the perfect alignment. It just automatically snaps onto the rest. You would say we wasted some time with this, but worry not. This is going to actually save you a lot of time and frustrations to properly lay out the foundation. So you're going to have something that looks a little bit like this. Now you don't have to worry about the locks not snapping onto each other, which can be terrible. We're already gathering a ton of those bigger rocks, as you can see right here. And this is going to be perfect to basically extend with the fishery afterwards. Have all the traps, all the sides right here. Right now, though, it's important that you don't continue with this wooden structure. I mean, you can do this, but it's not going to be as durable as stone constructions. So I prefer to just focus on that. So on each end of the triangle, basically, we're gonna place this rock shape. Get rid of this one as well. That's why you want to have Kelvin gathering everything pretty close to your base. Also gonna replace that. I'm getting rid of all the back beams, as you can see, so we can replace this all with stone, which is gonna make it much more durable. These 2 locks can also be removed right now, as they were only temporary, to basically prepare the extension of the fishery, which we're going to talk about later. Right now, we want to have 3 walls diagonally, exactly like so, which is pretty tricky to do. We're going to have to remove these beams first, and then do a little bit of messing around, let's say. So we're going to pick up some of the bigger ones, do a little bit of rotating. Guess where we have the center, let's say. I think that's going to be right here. There we go. And then we can basically continue the extension to the sides. I think that looks perfect, actually. We're going to do that another time on this side. Okay, it's not perfect, but this does the job pretty much. You just want to make sure that mobs will not get stuck on the sides. I think this is already more than enough. And voila, there we go. That's a nice triangle right there. Also going to place those beams exactly like so. Check it out. Right next to your beautiful home, I also recommend you to place some storage for sticks and rocks, so you can slowly stockpile them while you're building. And make sure you save from time to time. Do a little bit of sleeping to skip the night. So right now we have a pretty nice foundation with stone walls on the sides and wooden beams in the center. So we can start placing bigger beams on top, exactly like so. First, you want to have 2 beams on each side of the straight foundation, let's say. After that, you can focus on the diagonal wall. I also made a little platform, so it's easier to check out our progress. As you can see, the base is looking nice already. Right now, we're placing pillars everywhere we can, so we can start laying out the foundations for the walls themselves. Should have something that looks a little bit like this. Come on, Kelvin, get back to work. If it feels like Kelvin is taking forever to provide you with those bigger building blocks of stone, a nice neat little trick for both single player and I think also restarting your server is to simply save, get out of it, and relaunch your progress. Then all the stuff on the floor should respawn, including those bigger stones, ropes, and everything else that you can normally find on the ground. Make sure to double check if Kelvin is still assigned to his gathering task. This is going to be even more efficient if you place a stone stockpile right next to your base, as then Kelvin will simply fill it up. Well, you want to keep in mind that everything can also disappear when reloading the game. Like all the trees you've chopped down, all the logs that will fall down, they will be gone when you reload, which can easily be prevented if you simply place down the holders of stones, sticks, and rocks. If you place everything in there, this will not happen. Anyways, right now I'm gonna save once again, quit it, reload, and have all the stones spawning in front of my base once again, which does feel a little bit like cheating, but at the same time, we're here for the real adventure, right? We just want to have this build set up and ready as quick as possible so we can start thriving in the wilds and go out on epic adventures. A neat survival trick for the early days to make both hunger and thirst no problemo would be to simply craft a spear and start hunting for the trouts, which you find in the pond right in front of your base. Wow, I even caught 2 right here. That was legendary. Anyways, as you can see, this place is filled with the little fellas. While if we eat them, we restore both hunger and thirst without getting ill. And this is also an infinite food source, basically, which you can use forever. That's why we also want to have the little fishery extension later on. But yes, let's get back to the building part. Right now, we're going to focus on filling in all those wall frames with the stones, which you pick up around your base. This is going to be done in literally no time if you use a trick, which we've just talked about. And if you're almost done with this, you can already start working on the windows. Recycle blocks, which can be used to fill in the rest. As if you punch out the holes exactly like so, you will have 2 rocks from each wall. When you're almost done with a build, by the way, it also becomes increasingly difficult to get inside. A simple solution to this would be to place 2 beams exactly like so you can easily walk in and out of there. After a couple days, it's also entirely normal. You will start seeing and hearing cannibals around your construction site. This is something you don't want to worry too much about, as in the beginning they aren't super aggressive, as long as you don't fight against them from the get-go. But yes, let's check out the progression so far. We have these windows on each corner, so one right there, and one right there. Also one in the center of each diagonal wall, and I also decided to place one on each of the walls on the side which collides with the pond. As right here we're gonna have a truckload of traps, which all will be perfect, as the cannibals will simply start running past this and they will start triggering everything in this area. These are also going to make it easier to reset the traps. But yeah, since the cannibals are here, it's the perfect moment to start working on some of these. For the very beginning, I like to have 1 bone maker trap at each side, each flank, which is going to make survival a whole lot easier. And place the fly swatter traps in the straight lines on the sides, basically. So if they just run through, they will trigger them, which is super satisfying. Have these burning traps on each corner. That will be pretty much everything you will need for your early days to survive. And yeah, the reload trick, which we've talked about earlier, will also help you to get these traps in place in no time. And oh, we already have our first prize right here. Ouch! That's not part of the plan. And right now, we can also double check if we can, yes, reload the traps from inside our base. That is exactly why you want to have all these windows and place traps as much as you can right in front of them. Check out furniture and make yourself a stick chair. Place it right here or something. You can also do this with bones, but if we fill it in, check it out. We can just use this one to instantly teleport inside our base. If you place another one outside, well, you've guessed it, you can use it to travel both directions. You might have to place your chair a little bit closer to the window and also make it 1 lower in spacing compared to the other windows, as it's possible that you won't be able to interact with it, but as long as you have it set up and ready, you should be able to instantly travel in and out without a problem. We're gonna have to do a little bit of reorganization to make things a little bit more efficient right here. We're gonna remove the flooring of these corner walls, as only then you'll be able to place some corner towers, which is optional, but I like to have this anyways. So what you want to do is have 2 full logs, and you want to make sure that they can be placed exactly like so. It's pretty annoying because you have to first remove all the planks and then you can replace the beams, We should be able to also place them right there. And right there, voila. We're still missing one plank, but there we go. Right now we can get rid of this one. Then you could place a little roof right here. A total of 4 planks, as then you can jump on top of this and climb to the next floor, which is super easy to do. It also provides you with some extra protection. Make ourselves a little fire right here. Place stones around it, make it reinforced, and then you can basically start cooking. So now with the teleporting chairs, we have instant access to an infinite water source, which also comes with a truckload of different animals we can hunt. Gather both to simply make ourselves a delicious dish. For the first floor, we're gonna need a decent amount of logs. So you wanna start chopping down trees and let them fall towards your base. All this is gonna make construction a little bit easier. And we're gonna place some beams on all the inner foundations, basically. This one will primarily serve as cooking basement anyways, while the construction on top will make it easier to protect our base. A very efficient lookout basically, where we can also save our progress. This is pretty much what you want to achieve. On the diagonal walls, you also want to place log beams exactly like so. 1 and 2. So pretty much something like this. You want to put 4 beams in the middle right here and also create a support for a second floor. Place a beam on the side if you want to make construction even easier. So yeah, right now we're going a little bit fast with the construction, but this safe spot, in my opinion, is important before your tarp area right there gets destroyed. I mean, you want to have a safe place where you can do the resting, right? Anyways, once you have something like this, it's time to make the roof for it. For which you're going to need logs with a length of 3, not the maximum of 4. And place them right in the middle, exactly like so. Then we're going to need 2 of exactly half size. You simply want to jump and spam click. That should do the job. And we're going to also do that with the length of 1 for that roof construction. That's 1 and 2. Voila. Right now, you should be able to complete the roof triangle by placing 2 on the sides. And then it's time to place the floor beam exactly like so. And of course, also focus on the roofing. You also want to place a couple more beams on the sides right here to create a nice little lookout area. And then cut away the center. I mean, this little detail makes it look a little bit more like a watchtower, don't you guys agree? If you then take out a rope and you attach it right here, you can easily climb on top and have access to the tower. So yeah, there you go. We have your little lookout. Then if you check out the final tab of furniture, you should be able to find the beds. And I think a stick bed is going to be more than enough as it fits perfectly in this little square area. Voila. We can save our progress and get rid of that ugly tarp which we have laying outside of our base. And then place a stone wall everywhere except for the back, as this is where we still want to have access to that fishery. First, you want to place some beams on top. Then, if you connect them exactly like so, we can further extend this construction. There we go. We're going to chop out that block just like that. And right now, we should be able to shove it right underneath this thing. I'm going to take that log to place it right here. Take a couple more logs to basically push up the entire structure just like that. If we place a beam right here, it should be easier to make him connect exactly like so. We can even get rid of this one right there. Place it like so. Get rid of that one. Go for a half log actually, because these can be used to further support this structure. I'm going to place one right there. Another one right there. Voila. And there you will have your little bridge construction, which is going to lead us to the fishery. But let's first focus on the rest right here. I mean, we are not yet finished with our main base. Place a beam just like that. We're probably going to have to do that a couple times to make the extension all the way to the top. So place another one. We're currently thirsty and hungry. Let's quickly take care of that with some snacks. Of course, you can always use the cooking strategy, which I've explained earlier, but this just saves us a little bit of time. Right now, we're going to jump up there, place the beam like so, do the exact same thing on the other side. So you can bring the beams up, which might look a little bit funky if you do it like this, but there we go. Now we're going to need 2 more of these half logs, which we can place right there to reinforce the construction. To fix everything on the top, which now allows us to get rid of these, with which we can make that floor. Voila. I still have to place a secondary layer on top of the walls. And I spotted some cannibals at the distance. Seems like they're gone already. But since we already have our traps in place, you really don't have to worry about that. The place is already kind of indestructible as of right now. We also want to get rid of these logs right here, as now we're going to make our base a little bit more accessible. We're going to hang some ropes from all the sides right here to make it even more accessible. Put another one right there. So we can just climb on top. So we have a very nice platform viewpoint, basically, which we're going to do on both sides. So we're also going to put a rope right there. And if you have a well-timed jump, you should be able to easily reach this side as well. Now, if the bad guys decide to pop up, it's going to be much easier to also gain entrance to it from the front. You simply want to interact with the rope, climb on top of the platform, and voila, you can start sniping or whatever. As shared earlier, to make your cooking game a little bit more efficient, you want to have 2 campfires instead of 1, so you can prepare 2 dishes at the same time. Sometimes it can be a little bit trickier to survive the forest, especially if you're playing on a higher difficulty or have more mouths to feed. That is why we've built our expansion right here for the fishery, which we're going to construct right now. If you forgot how to construct this bridge expansion, be sure to check out my timestamp earlier. While right now, what we're going to do is simply continue with the build exactly like so. We're going to place 2 beams on the sides. We're going to pick up a couple more, and this is why I recommend you to have a whole lot more logs close to you, as we're going to make a pretty big wooden platform. Chop out these smaller chunks, throw them away, or use them for another type of build. Now we're going to place 2 more right here as well. You can make this thing as long as you like. Well, I think a total size of 4 is going to be more than enough. We're going to bring this beam up, which can be a little bit challenging sometimes. To make bringing up these beams a little bit easier, I like to place a half log in the center. Otherwise, it's not going to be easy to reach these spots, because you're always just going to drop the logs because you're in deep water and start to swim. So this is the foundation, which I have right now. Only last thing that we have to do is fill in the floor. This shouldn't take too much time if Kelvin always gathers the logs for you. Today, though, he decided to stop working, so I'm going to have to do all the work myself. But there we go. We're pretty much done. You can also see that we can easily jump on top of this platform, which is something the cannibals aren't smart enough for. And wow, that's annoying. It was a final piece of the puzzle, but there we go. We've got our little platform for drying racks. You want to place 1 on each platform. Voila, there we go. Right now we have more than enough space to dry fish, and of course all the other snacks we find during your adventures. Fishing, though, is going to be the easiest way of gathering food, while the deer from time to time also really love using these traps. Very nice indeed. To make things even more interesting, we want to place a couple of these traps on the sides, as you can literally auto-farm fish with them. I always have like 1 on each side, so we're going to also place 1 right here. They do require some sticks, but trust me, you will not regret it, as they will have an infinite supply of fish every single time you visit them. Yeah, now it's just going to be a matter of minutes before these 2 traps will be filled up. We also have to bring a couple more planks to the bridge right here so we can complete it. There we go, that looks much better. The cannibals will walk through while we can jump to the sides. And I also like to take out a rope and hang it from this log, so we can basically have instant access to our base. If you've made it all the way to this timestamp, congrats! You should now have a compact and powerful fortress set up and ready to dominate the island. The base is done pretty much. However, with these little upgrades, you can further boost its defense capabilities, intimidating looks, and upgrade storage space, etc. Alright, so the first thing we're gonna do right here is extend this platform a little bit by putting a couple more beams exactly like so. Then also put the supports like this. So then you should have something that looks a little bit like this construction. Nice, Kelvin. But right now we can basically get rid of these beams and place them like so. I want to quickly get up there so it's going to be easier to construct, but then we can place a couple more exactly like so. Actually, let's just keep this one in place, but another one right there. Then we can put some one-sized planks like so. Now it looks pretty cool. I'm gonna put that long one exactly like so. Right now we have something to attach a zip line to, which we can put on this side and basically zip into the forest from higher ground and have quick access to the base, the fishery, etc. I also want to add a tracker to our base so we can always know where it is. First off, pick up a stick. We're going to place it right here in the middle basically of our build. Then take one of those GPS locators to show where your base is on the GPS. I think this is a nice one, so you will always know where to go, wherever you are, while we are still pretty close, of course, to that cave system. Next to that, I like to have 2 spear racks. So craft a couple of these bad boys and prepare yourselves for the next raids. On the corners, I like to have some arrow storage. So we're going to place them exactly like so on each of the sides, so you can have all the projectiles ready for the next raid as well. I only have 1 crossbow bolt right now, but we're going to fill up these bad boys soon enough when we start exploring the world. Anyways, if we go to our cooking basement, we can place plenty more storage. You can put the regular shelves or the wall shelves, which are actually easy to place right above them. So you can actually save a lot of space inside your base. Wait a second, we're only going to need those smaller ones right here. Voila. And the cool thing is you can even access them from the outside. So if we're getting inside right now, you can see that we have plenty of these storage places. You can tell that these cannibals leave, well, a pretty big mess behind in terms of body parts and also bones after they've burned to crisp. That's why I like to build some of these bone storage containers right behind the wall inside of a little cooking area, so you can instantly deposit everything you find during your adventures, have access to it from the interior, and craft yourself some gear when you need it. Oh, this guy! Wow, that was perfect. Anyways, I keep finding skulls as well, so I guess you just want to place them on the shelves for whenever you need them. And if you want your fortress to look a little bit more intimidating, you can always add a little detail exactly like so. So first you place the full-sized logs, then you chop off the top, then sharpen them to a decent level. Now you're going to have a size of 2, and then you're going to just place the stones right in between. Sometimes you're going to have to temporarily move your arrow containers to fill in the wall however you see fit. Voila. And for added efficiency, you should also place a couple of these rain collectors with turtle shells, for which you're gonna have to make a short trip to the beach, but do this before it starts raining, so you will have an infinite supply of water. And what I also like to have right next to my arrow containers are a couple of these bird nests, so I can always get my hands on all the feathers I will ever need for crafting purposes, which are very easy to access if you place them exactly like so. Alright, so there you have it, an impenetrable base design. A fortress that's compact and powerful, designed to not just survive, but thrive in Sons of the Forest. If you find this video helpful, a like would be very much appreciated, and of course, share your thoughts about it in the comments down below. I have plenty more Sons of the Forest content on the channel, while of course, if you have video suggestions, they're very welcome in the comments as well. Right now though, it's 4 AM out. I want to wish you a lot of fun with the build. I'll check you in the next video or live stream. Peace.